What if the smallest coin in your hand was secretly worth millions? Hidden among ordinary Sacagawea dollar coins are rare pieces with the power to change lives overnight. Forgotten in drawers, ignoring collections, these coins may carry unimaginable wealth. One discovery, one perfect condition, one historic strike, and suddenly an ordinary dollar becomes a once-in-a-lifetime fortune that could rewrite your destiny forever. First up, the Sacagawea dollar from the United States is not just a coin. It is a symbol wrapped in metal, history, ambition, and quiet mystery. When the year 2001 arrived, America was still adjusting to the idea of a golden-colored dollar coin, something that looked valuable even before anyone understood its deeper meaning. The 2001 Sacagawea dollar came from the Denver Mint during a time when these coins were not warmly welcomed in everyday circulation, and because of that, many were stored away, ignored, or misunderstood. What most people never realized was that coins produced in moments of transition often carry secrets far greater than their face value. Hidden within certain examples of this issue are stories of rarity, unusual strikes, unexpected preservation, and mint behavior that today's collectors quietly chase. This is where imagination meets reality, because history has shown again and again that coins dismissed by the public can later rise into legends worth unimaginable sums. To understand why the 2001 Sacagawea dollar holds such powerful fascination, you must first understand the moment it was born. The United States Mint was pushing forward with a bold idea, a modern dollar that honored Sacagawea, the Native American woman who guided the Lewis and Clark expedition through uncharted territory. Her presence on the coin was meant to represent guidance, courage, and discovery, and those themes echo eerily in the way collectors now discover rare examples of this coin. The Denver Mint produced millions, but quantity does not always erase value. In fact, when production numbers are high yet survival in perfect condition is low, the few untouched pieces become silent kings. Over time, most of these coins were scratched, bag-marked, spent, or mishandled, leaving only a tiny fraction preserved in truly flawless condition. What makes certain 2001 Sacagawea dollars special is not what the average eye sees, but what trained collectors search for in silence. The smallest deviation in strike pressure, metal flow, die alignment, or surface texture can turn an ordinary coin into a phenomenon. Coins struck from early-state dies can show razor-sharp details that almost glow under light, while others may show unusual satin-like surfaces, proof-style characteristics, or unexpected depth in the feathers of the eagle. These details are not accidents to serious collectors. They are signatures of rarity. When such a coin is preserved without a single mark and professionally graded at the highest levels, its value does not rise slowly. It jumps violently, sometimes reaching numbers that shock even experienced numismatists. There is also the shadow world of mint anomalies, the kind that never appear in official records yet surface decades later in private collections. Stories circulate of experimental planchets, transitional metals, and coins struck during calibration or testing phases that slipped into circulation unnoticed. The 2001 Sacagawea dollar exists within this mysterious era of mint experimentation, when the mint was still refining its processes for golden-colored coinage. If even one verified example emerges showing a unique metal composition, an off-metal strike, or a mule pairing never meant for public release, its value would not be measured in thousands, but in the kind of figures that rewrite lives overnight. This is not fantasy. This is how numismatic history has unfolded repeatedly across generations. Another powerful factor is condition rarity, a concept most people underestimate. A coin can be common in worn form, yet nearly impossible to find in absolute perfection. For the 2001 Sacagawea dollar, coins graded at the very top of the scale exist in shockingly low numbers. These are coins that never felt human pockets, never touched rough surfaces, never suffered even microscopic damage. When competition rises among wealthy collectors who demand the best of the best, prices can escalate beyond logic. Auctions are not driven by metal. They are driven by emotion, pride, and the desire to own something others cannot. In those moments, numbers lose meaning, and records are broken. The design itself plays a quiet but important role in its desirability. Sacagawea's portrait is soft yet powerful, with flowing hair and a calm expression that reflects strength rather than dominance. The eagle on the reverse appears in motion, wings spread wide, symbolizing freedom and expansion. When these design elements appear fully struck with bold definition, they transform the coin into something closer to sculpture than currency. Collectors pay for beauty as much as rarity, and beauty preserved over decades becomes irresistible. A perfectly struck 2001D example can appear almost unreal, like time stopped the moment it left the press. There's also psychology at play, the dangerous and exciting psychology of what if. Every collector knows that history is filled with coins once dismissed that later became priceless treasures. This belief fuels endless searching, endless grading submissions, endless hope. The 2001D Sacagawea dollar sits perfectly in this space of possibility. It is not ancient, not colonial, not gold or silver, and that is exactly why it is underestimated. Modern coins have repeatedly shocked the world when rare variants surfaced, proving that age is not the only ingredient for value. Sometimes the greatest fortunes hide in the most unexpected timelines. When a coin carries the potential to be a once-in-a-generation discovery, its perceived value multiplies. The idea that one single piece, sitting unnoticed in a drawer or album, could be the finest known example on Earth is intoxicating. Certification companies exist because of this dream, because each submission carries hope. If a 2001D Sacagawea dollar were to be confirmed as a unique strike, an experimental piece, or the highest graded example ever recorded, its value would not be debated, it would be declared by the market itself. Wealth follows uniqueness, not promises. Another layer of fascination comes from how these coins were treated by the public. Many people ignored them, some disliked them, others hoarded them without care. This uneven treatment created a survival imbalance that collectors now feel deeply. Coins that should have been preserved were damaged, while a few lucky pieces survived untouched. Time rewards accidents like these. The less intentional preservation there was, the more powerful the survivors become. This is why a modern coin can suddenly leap into elite status decades later, catching the world unprepared. The myth of overnight fortune is not entirely a myth in numismatics. It has happened before, and it will happen again. Coins discovered in rolls, estates, forgotten safes, and old collections have shattered expectations and headlines. The 2001D Sacagawea dollar holds that same quiet promise. It whispers rather than shouts, and those whispers are often the most dangerous to ignore. Value is not always loud at birth. Sometimes it grows silently until the moment it explodes. What makes this coin especially powerful is accessibility. Unlike ancient gold or colonial rarities, this coin was once obtainable by ordinary people. That fact alone gives it a legendary aura. The idea that unimaginable wealth could exist in something so familiar is what keeps collectors awake at night. It turns ordinary drawers into treasure chests and simple curiosity into obsession. When people say a coin can change a life overnight, they are not speaking recklessly, they are speaking from history. Second up, when you hold a coin in your hand, most people see shiny metal. They see small value. They see something to spend. But then there are coins like the 2002D Sacagawea dollar, coins that appear ordinary but contain whispers of fortune, coins that almost defy logic because deep beneath their golden surface is the potential to rewrite destiny. Imagine a modest American dollar first struck in Denver in 2002, quietly resting in someone's collection or forgotten drawer, while above it looms a future so unimaginable that when discovered, it could shift someone's life into another dimension entirely. This is not fantasy. This is a story of possibility, of history waiting to be discovered, and of a coin that might one day be valued not in hundreds or thousands, but in millions, maybe even enough to make someone a billionaire. The story of the 2002D Sacagawea dollar begins like so many others, in a mint, under pressure and precision, as metal blanks transformed into currency. But history has proven again and again that not all coins are created equal. Some are ordinary, some are rare, and some rest on the fragile boundary between the two. The Sacagawea dollar series was new in the early 2000s, an experiment in forging a modern dollar that carried the spirit of an ancient journey. The story of Sacagawea, a Native American guide whose quiet strength helped shape the destiny of a nation. When this design was released, many Americans barely noticed. Yet the very indifference of the public became the cradle of potential for something remarkable. Because while millions of these coins were struck, only a minute number escaped the usual fate of circulation wear, scratches, and mishandling. Time can be cruel to coins, rubbing away their beauty, hiding their details. But once in a rare while, a piece survives untouched. It sits in perfect, breathtaking condition, surfaces unmarked, edges crisp, details as sharp as the moment it left the press. These pristine survivors become the silent trophy pieces that collectors hunt for decades. And for the 2002 Sacagawea dollar, such survivors are whispered about in collector circles like buried treasure, the kind of treasure that could change a person's life overnight. There are collectors who live for moments exactly like this. They pour through collections, search through old coin folders, revisit dusty boxes, and spend endless nights chasing the dream of discovery. What they hope to find is a coin that defies the ordinary. They hope to find that perfect combination of rarity and condition that makes history jump off the page. When a coin is graded at the highest level, the kind of flawless perfection only a few examples might possess, a transformation occurs. It stops being metal. It becomes a legend. And legends have a market all their own. You must understand that in the coin world, condition is not just important, it's everything. Common coins in worn condition are worth what they always were. But when even a single example exists with astonishing preservation, it throws open the gates of possibility. A 2002 Sacagawea dollar in untouched, uncirculated, near impossibly perfect condition could stand among the rarest of the series. And rare today can mean something extraordinary tomorrow. History shows that when the market discovers a true gem, a coin that exceeds every other known example, prices don't just climb, they skyrocket beyond expectation. But rarity does not live in a vacuum. Every great numismatic story has mystery woven into it. Some coins are unique because of anomalies, slight deviations in metal composition, unforeseen die variations, or errors that slip through the mint's quality control. These anomalies are not defects to collectors. They are signatures of uniqueness. They are the fingerprints left behind by chance. If such an anomaly were ever authenticated in a 2002 Sacagawea dollar, it would not simply be valuable. It would be sought after like a lost relic, pushing its worth into astronomical territory. Collectors speak in hushed tones about coins that defy explanation, coins that seem normal until studied under magnification, when suddenly an unexpected feature appears. Deeper detail here, stronger strike there, surfaces that shimmer with a quality no others possess. If one discovers a 2002 specimen that demonstrates characteristics unseen anywhere else, that is the turning point. That is when a coin stops being a dollar and begins to be a legend. In the quiet halls of numismatic auctions, legends command prices that can make fortunes. Imagine for a moment hearing the gavel fall, knowing that a single coin just shattered the record books. That a coin once dismissed as ordinary now brings millions at auction. That someone in the audience or watching online suddenly finds themselves the owner of something priceless. It is in those moments that the passion of collectors transforms into real, tangible wealth. The notion of becoming a billionaire overnight may sound like a fairy tale, but the coin world has shown before that reality can exceed imagination. The real magic lies not in the metal, which is base and common, but in what the coin represents. Survival against the odds, perfection where imperfection should exist, and a story that resonates far beyond commerce. The 2002 Sacagawea dollar is more than currency. It is a time capsule. It is a messenger from a moment long past, waiting for someone with a vision to recognize its worth. When collectors talk about coins that could be life-changing, it is this kind of narrative they have in mind. But with possibility comes caution. Many people own modern coins without knowing their true value. They see a dollar and spend it, trade it, exchange it for coffee or candy. And so the world loses potential treasures every day. The difference between someone who became wealthy and someone who squandered their chance often comes down to knowledge and timing. A coin discovered and graded at the right moment can ignite a bidding frenzy unmatched by anything ordinary. Yet, it must be said clearly, not every 2002 Sacagawea dollar is a hidden gem. Most are common, collected, spent, forgotten. It is only the rarest and most perfect examples, perhaps those with imperceptible details unseen by any other, that carry the potential for legendary value. And because the market for such things thrives on rarity, the fewer there are, the more powerful their worth becomes. In this way, each perfect survivor is not just a coin. It is a vessel of possibility, a potential fortune locked in metal. Collectors understand that hypothesis is not enough, evidence is. That is why professional grading matters so much. When a coin is submitted to a grading authority and emerges with the highest accolades, it validates the whisper of rarity. It confirms what the heart of a collector has always hoped, that this coin is different, that this coin matters, that this coin could be the one that ignites auctions, that breaks records, that changes wealth forever. And when the buzz spreads, when collectors, investors, and enthusiasts alike recognize that a superlative 2002 Sacagawea dollar exists, the market awakens. Prices leap, interest surges, and suddenly a coin once considered mundane is thrust into the limelight. People do not chase metal. They chase history, beauty, rarity, and the thrill of possibility. That is the true power of numismatics. So if you ever come across a 2002 Sacagawea dollar, do not dismiss it. Third up, there are coins that are spent without thought, passed from hand to hand like whispers of everyday life. And then there are coins that carry the suspended breath of possibility, dormant, silent, waiting to be unearthed. The 2001 Sacagawea dollar is one such coin. At first glance, it appears like any other dollar struck at the Philadelphia Mint, common, unremarkable, part of an ordinary circulation series. But history, desire, and the unpredictable pulse of the collector's heart have shown time and again that some of the most significant treasures hide in plain sight, disguised as the mundane until the moment of revelation. Imagine a single coin minted at Philadelphia in 2001, surviving untouched through decades, only to surface one day and shock the world with a value so staggering it defies imagination. A coin that could, with just one authenticated discovery, elevate its owner into a rarefied realm of wealth once thought only possible in dreams. In the early years of the Sacagawea dollar program, collectors and the public alike weren't entirely sure what to make of this new golden coin. It was meant to honor Sacagawea, a woman whose quiet courage guided explorers across unknown terrain, a narrative of endurance and subtle strength. Yet as a modern coin meant for circulation, it faced a strange fate. People didn't hoard it the way they did older silver or gold coins, and they didn't spend it the way they did quarters or dimes. It drifted in an ambiguous middle ground, ignored by many, misunderstood by most. But within that space, possibilities grew. The very indifference of the public became fertile ground for rarity, because coins that weren't collected properly were worn, scratched, forgotten, and sometimes lost, leaving only a fingerprint of survivors in untouched, breathtaking condition. What separates the ordinary from the extraordinary in the numismatic world is not just age, it is condition. A common coin worn smooth by circulation has its own story, but a coin preserved as if time forgot it carries something different, resonance. It carries perfection. And perfection, when rare enough, becomes priceless. The 2001 Sacagawea dollars were struck in the millions, but how many of those survive entirely unmarked, with surfaces that glimmer like a time capsule, with all details sharp and alive? Extremely few. In a world where every microscopic scratch can diminish value, those survivors are the dream of collectors and the trigger of competition that skyrockets prices beyond logic. But beyond simple preservation, there exists another layer of intrigue, the realm of anomaly and variation. In every minting process, slight inconsistencies can occur. Differences in die pressure, subtle shifts in planchet composition, or unusual marks left during experimental phases. Most errors are insignificant, easily dismissed. But once in a rare while, a coin may emerge bearing something unusual, something that sets it apart from every other known example. Imagine a 2001 Sacagawea dollar that carries a striking, so unlike its companions that even seasoned experts pause in surprise. Such anomalies become the ghosts that haunt auctions, the whispers that light up collector forums, and the catalyst for bidding wars that send prices into the stratosphere. Collectors understand that rarity is not just about scarcity, it is about unparalleled distinctiveness. A perfectly preserved coin is valuable, but a perfectly preserved coin with unique characteristics becomes legendary. This is where the 2001 Sacagawea dollar steps out of the realm of everyday currency and into the pantheon of potential legends. If in the vaults of a private collector, forgotten in a box for decades, exists one coin that is unlike any other, a coin whose surfaces bear symmetry and detail that defy even the highest known grading standards, then that single coin becomes not just rare, but potentially the most valuable of its kind. Now imagine the moment of discovery. A collector, perhaps unaware of what they truly hold, submits this coin for professional evaluation. The grading authority examines it under intense scrutiny, revealing that not only is this coin flawless in condition, but it also showcases characteristics unseen in any recorded example. The room falls silent as the examiner's eyes widen. The room hums with possibility, and suddenly, what was once an ordinary dollar coin becomes something far greater than narrative. It becomes history. And history, when authenticated, commands the attention of every serious collector and investor around the globe. In the world of rare coins, auctions are where dreams collide with reality. When a unique, exceptional piece emerges, the value doesn't climb incrementally, it explodes. Wealthy collectors, museums, private investors, and passionate guardians of history converge with a singular focus: to possess what no one else has. Prices escalate with breathtaking speed, crossing thresholds that once seemed impossible. A coin like this does not just sell for thousands or tens of thousands. Its value can escalate into the realm of millions, because at that point it is not metal being sold, but story, heritage, and absolute uniqueness. But the most powerful part of this narrative is not merely the possibility of value. It is the way it captures the imagination. People are drawn to the idea that something seemingly ordinary might hold extraordinary worth. Every old coin in a drawer, every forgotten collection passed down through generations, becomes charged with possibility. What if the coin you inherited? What if the coin your grandfather once tossed into a box is the next great discovery? It is this question, more than any price tag, that fuels the relentless search for coins like the 2001 Sacagawea dollar. Yet with possibility comes caution. Many collectors have learned the hard way that ignorance can be costly. A coin mistaken for common might be spent, sold cheaply, or forgotten, only to be rediscovered years later with regret and frustration. The difference between someone who changed their life with a single coin and someone who missed their chance often lies in knowledge, patience, and vision. Before dismissing a coin or assuming its value, one must look deeper, truly look. Because what seems like an ordinary pocket piece might, in fact, be a sleeping giant. Professional grading and authentication are the gatekeepers of this transformation. A coin's journey from curiosity to legend requires validation by experts who can discern nuance that few others can see. When a coin is certified at the very highest level, especially if it emerges as the finest known example in existence, its story changes forever. The certification becomes a crown of legitimacy, and the collector who holds that coin becomes the keeper of a piece of history. Imagine the moment when that certified coin is brought to auction. The room is tense, screens around the world light up with online bids, and every heart in that room beats with anticipation. As the price climbs past every known precedent, past what anyone dared predict, the reality becomes unmistakable. This coin, once minted casually in 2001 at the Philadelphia Mint, now holds a value that transcends currency. It becomes a cultural milestone, a treasure, a legend, a once-in-a-generation rarity. Fourth up, some coins are spent without a second thought, dropped into a coffee jar, forgotten in a drawer, passed from hand to hand like whispers of everyday commerce. But then there are coins that carry a quiet promise, a certain electric tension as if they hold more than just metal. The 2000 Sacagawea dollar is one of those mysterious coins. On the surface, it looks like a simple dollar struck at the Philadelphia Mint at the dawn of a new millennium. Yet beneath its golden glow lies a story not just of currency, but of possibility, rarity, and dreams that defy imagination. Imagine a single coin, once lost and now found, that could, with one whisper of authentication, be worth unimaginable sums, so valuable that it could change the destiny of its owner overnight. When the Sacagawea dollar was introduced at the turn of the century, it was meant to be a fresh start, a modern coin that captured the spirit of exploration and resilience. Its design honored Sacagawea, the Native American woman whose unspoken strength guided Lewis and Clark through the uncharted wilderness. But life, unpredictable as ever, refused to let this coin's story end simply with design. For while millions were struck, only a handful managed to survive the abrasive urge of everyday use. Most were spent, shoved into drawers, or tossed aside like yesterday's news. Few were preserved with reverence, and even fewer remained untouched to the present day. It is those rare survivors that become the heartbeat of collector world fascination. In the numismatic realm, what elevates a coin from a simple keepsake to a treasure is not just existence, but condition. Coins that bear the marks of circulation, tiny scratches, scuffed surfaces, dulled edges, these are everyday history. But coins that remain in pristine condition, with surfaces unblemished and details sharp as the day they were struck, are a different breed altogether. They are silent time capsules, preserving moments lost to most eyes. For the 2000 Sacagawea dollar, surviving examples in flawless state are rare gems, whispers of perfection amid the noise of time. But the enchantment of this coin isn't just about untouched condition. It's deeper, it's about uniqueness. In the minting process, subtle variations can occur, shifts in strike pressure, slight die differences, minuscule anomalies that the untrained eye may overlook. Most of these differences are dismissed as trivial, brushed off as unimportant. Yet seasoned collectors know better. Because it is these almost imperceptible quirks that sometimes reveal a version of a coin that is unlike any other. And when such a version exists, only one known in all the world, it transforms the coin into something far greater than its face value ever suggested. Imagine the thrill of discovery. A collector sifts through a box, almost by accident, and pulls out a 2000p Sacagawea dollar that seems different. It doesn't scream rarity, it doesn't glow with obvious anomaly, but something about it feels deeper, richer, sharper. Under magnification, its surfaces reveal a remarkable clarity, its edges are unscathed, its strike seems almost supernatural. Could it be perfect? Could it be the best ever seen? That hope, that electrifying possibility, is what keeps collectors on the edge of their seats. Because when a coin appears to transcend all known standards, the world takes notice. The journey from ordinary to extraordinary is a leap fueled by verification. Professional grading world is where this transformation takes shape, where whispers become roars. A coin submitted for grading is examined by experts who have seen thousands, yet few reach the pinnacle. When a 2000p Sacagawea dollar emerges from certification with the highest possible grade, flawless, untouched, and breathtaking, it no longer sits as a mere collector piece. It becomes something almost sacred, a supreme example of what that coin can be. And when collectors around the world whisper of its existence, excitement ripples through the market like an electric storm. Auctions are where legends are born. When a rare, perfect coin hits the block, wealthy collectors, museums, investors, and passionate numismatists gather with a shared hunger. The hunger to possess what others cannot. Bidding begins, and like tendrils of lightning, the numbers rise. First thousands, then hundreds of thousands, then millions. In moments like these, value is no longer tethered to reason. It is governed by desire, by competition, by the thrill of rarity. In that space, coins become more than metal. They become legends that rewrite the history of collecting. But remember, rarity does not automatically translate to millions. It must be singular, it must be unmatched, and it must be confirmed beyond doubt. What ignites extraordinary value is not just untouched preservation, but an undeniable uniqueness recognized by experts and collectors alike. And should such a unique 2000p Sacagawea dollar be authenticated, its value could transcend expectations, reaching figures that once seemed only possible in dreams. In that moment, someone could hold a piece of metal that bears a number worth more than most people ever see in a lifetime. The idea that a coin could make someone extraordinarily wealthy, even a billionaire overnight, is more than idle fantasy. History has taught us that the market, when faced with true rarity, throws out preconceived limits. Collectors are driven by passion, competition, legacy, and the desire to own what no one else can touch. When these elements align around a single coin, the results can be astonishing. The 2000p Sacagawea dollar, in its rarest form, could someday become one of those once-in-a-generation finds that redefine what coins can be worth. But there is a caution woven into every tale of sudden numismatic fortune. Ignorance is costly. Many coin owners never realize the hidden potential of what they hold. They pass it off as common, sell it cheaply, or spend it in everyday transactions, unaware that beneath the surface lies possibility. Those who take the time to carefully examine, to seek expertise, to authenticate, are the ones who stand on the threshold of discovery. They are the ones who understand that every coin has a story, and sometimes that story is worth more than we ever imagined. In the world of sacred treasures, nothing builds excitement like the unknown. The 2000p Sacagawea dollar is not just a piece of currency. It is a whisper of what might be. It represents a chapter in history that few have truly explored, and a possibility that, while rare, is undeniably seductive. For collectors, the chase is as thrilling as the prize. It is the hope that one day someone will uncover a coin so perfect, so singular, that it becomes a defining moment in numismatic lore. Imagine the headlines. Imagine the collective gasp around the world as experts confirm a 2000p dollar unlike any seen before. A coin so remarkable that its value transcends every precedent. Imagine the auction room, the rising bids, the final thunderous proclamation of sale, and the new owner, someone whose life is transformed forever. Such moments remind us that history is still alive, that treasures still wait to be found, and that the ordinary can sometimes hold the extraordinary. Fifth up, there are coins that we spend without a second thought, tossed into parking meters or exchanged for candy, And then there are coins that seem ordinary until one day someone discovers they are extraordinary. The 2000D Sacagawea dollar is one of those coins that can be both a humble piece of metal and, under rare circumstances, a hidden treasure capable of rewriting someone's life story. Imagine a single dollar minted at the Denver Mint at the dawn of the millennium, quietly resting in a coin album or forgotten piggy bank. Unknown, unseen, mundane, until one day it surfaces and reveals itself to be something astonishing. That's the kind of tale that sends shivers through collectors and dreamers alike. In the year 2000, the United States Mint set into motion a bold new chapter in American coinage. The Sacagawea dollar was introduced not just as currency, but as a tribute to the Native American woman whose quiet strength and guidance had helped Lewis and Clark blaze trails into the unknown. The coin's brilliant golden color, smooth edges, and dignified imagery stood in stark contrast to the silver and copper tones that had dominated U.S. coins for generations. But while most people saw a dollar coin, a select few saw the potential for something far greater, a coin that might someday be more than a form of money but a piece of history worth its weight in legend. The thousands upon thousands of 2000D Sacagawea dollars that entered circulation blended into everyday commerce. They were spent, saved, lost, and forgotten in drawers and wallets across the country. But here's where the magic of coin collecting begins. Out of millions of coins, only a tiny fraction survive in perfect, unblemished condition. Most show signs of life, tiny scratches, faint marks, smooth surfaces from circulation, but a rare few emerge untouched. These coins, preserved as if time itself paused for them, are the ones that collectors yearn for. In numismatics, condition is not just important, it is everything. Flawless preservation transforms a coin from common currency into a silent masterpiece. Yet even perfect condition is not the only secret that can make a coin legendary. Sometimes the rarest treasures are those with subtle anomalies, features that distinguish one coin from every other known example. These anomalies might be as slight as a difference in strike depth, a variation in the metal flow, or a unique characteristic of the coin's surface that experts can barely put into words. If such an oddity were ever confirmed in a 2000D Sacagawea dollar, that coin would instantly become a phenomenon. Every collector in the world would take notice. Auctions would erupt with bidding wars, and the value could climb into realms once considered impossible for a modern dollar coin. Think for a moment about how the value of rarity works. It is not measured by the metal itself. The Sacagawea dollar is composed of base metals, not gold or silver, but by scarcity, perfection, and uniqueness. A coin that exists in only one perfect example known to humanity becomes priceless not because of what it is made of, but because of what it represents. Imagine that moment. A collector submits a coin for professional grading, and when the results come back, they reveal that this coin is not only flawless but also unlike any other recorded example. The room goes silent, hearts skip, and suddenly the world of coin collecting focuses on a single object of metal, a humble dollar that now carries the power to astonish. When that moment happens, when the grading authentication confirms uniqueness and perfection, the coin does not simply have value. It has legendary status. At that point, mass payoff becomes real. Wealthy collectors across the globe, museums with deep pockets, private investors hungry for rare pieces, all will compete for the same price. This competition drives prices not just higher, but into the realm of the extraordinary. A coin that once spent its days lost in circulation can suddenly be worth millions, even approaching figures that seem almost unreal, enough to change someone's life overnight. The very idea that a piece of metal could bestow such wealth feels like the beginnings of a fairy tale. Yet the history of numismatics is filled with moments where reality outdid imagination. But even more captivating than the monetary value is the emotional resonance the story a coin carries through time. A 2000D Sacagawea dollar survived not because it was valuable, but because someone preserved it, knowingly or unknowingly. It might have been tucked away in a change jar, passed down through generations, or forgotten in the bottom of a drawer. That quiet survival imbues the coin with something far greater than metal. It gives it a narrative. When collectors speak of rare coins, they are not just speaking of dollars and cents. They are speaking of history, of chance, of fate. The thrill of possibility drives collectors to scour albums, sift through old collections, and revisit coins deemed insignificant by others. Each coin becomes a gateway into the unknown. What if this one is special? What if this one is the one that breaks records? Is this tension between the ordinary and the extraordinary that makes coins like the 2000D Sacagawea dollar such captivating mysteries? Every old coin has potential until proven otherwise, and every collector dreams of the moment their ordinary coin becomes extraordinary. Yet, with all this speculation and potential, caution has its place. Not every coin will be the rare gem, and most 2000D Sacagawea dollars are indeed common in the strictest sense. But the possibility of discovering that one perfect, unmatched piece is what keeps collectors motivated, hopeful, and endlessly curious. The difference between a coin that is simply saved and a coin that changes someone's fortune can be as subtle as a microscopic detail only visible under intense scrutiny, the kind of detail that transforms a coin from ordinary to historic. Professional grading services play a pivotal role in this transformation. They are the arbiters of authenticity, the ones who hold the power to recognize perfection and rarity where the untrained eye cannot. When a coin emerges from grading with the highest accolades, especially if it is the finest known, its value is validated. Collectors then view it not as currency, but as a cultural artifact, a piece of history that speaks not only of metal, but of the hand that once saved it and the fate that allowed it to survive. And when such a coin comes to auction, the spectacle is breathtaking. Bidders from far-flung corners of the world connect through screens, their hearts pounding with anticipation. The price climbs rung after rung, defying expectations, surpassing every previous benchmark. What began as a humble dollar now becomes a trophy of immense prestige. Wealthy enthusiasts raise their paddles with steely determination, and ordinary people watching at home witness something extraordinary, a moment where possibility became reality. It is in these moments that coins transcend their physical form and become symbols of human aspiration. They remind us that history isn't only recorded in textbooks or museums. Sometimes it is preserved in the soft luster of a coin that survived decades of oblivion. And when that coin finally gains recognition, it doesn't just make history, it makes a fortune. In the rarest of cases, a single coin can shift someone's life, elevate someone's standing, and change someone's destiny, all with a quiet echo from the past.